Welcome to Frightening Fiction, the YouTube channel dedicated to all things horror. If you're a fan of scary stories and spine-tingling thrills, then you've come to the right place. Today's story is called The Hitchhiker from Another World. It was a dark and stormy night. The kind of night that makes you want to curl up with a good book and a cup of hot cocoa, safe and sound in your own home. But I was on the road, traveling from one side of the country to the other, and I had been driving for hours. I was starting to feel drowsy, and I knew I needed to find a place to rest for the night. As I drove, I kept my eye out for any sign of a rest stop or a hotel. But as the miles ticked by, I began to fear that I was completely lost. And then, out of nowhere, I saw a figure standing on the side of the road. It was a young woman, and she was waving frantically at me. Without hesitation, I pulled over to the side of the road and opened the passenger door. The woman climbed into the car, thanking me profusely for stopping. She was soaking wet and shivering, and I could see that she was terrified. "What happened?" I asked. "Why are you out here in the middle of nowhere?" The woman hesitated for a moment, as if she was trying to decide whether or not to trust me. But then she spoke, her words tumbling out in a rush. "I was on my way to meet a friend when my car broke down," she said. "I've been trying to flag down a ride for hours, but no one would stop. I was starting to think I was going to have to spend the night out here." I felt a surge of compassion for the woman, and I vowed to do everything I could to help her. I told her that I would take her wherever she needed to go, and I asked if she needed to use my phone to call her friend. The woman shook her head. "No, it's okay," she said. "I'll just wait until we get to where we're going." I nodded and put the car back into gear, wondering where exactly we were going. But the woman didn't seem to want to talk, and I didn't want to push her. So we drove in silence, the only sounds the rain pounding against the windshield and the wipers swishing back and forth. After what felt like an eternity, the woman suddenly spoke up. "Can you pull over?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I did as she asked, bringing the car to a stop on the side of the road. The woman opened the door and climbed out, and I watched as she walked away into the darkness. I sat in the car for a few minutes, waiting for her to come back. But she didn't. And when I finally summoned the courage to get out and look for her, she was nowhere to be found. I called out her name, but there was no answer. I searched the surrounding area, but it was pitch black and I couldn't see more than a few feet in front of me. And then, just as I was starting to panic, I heard a soft voice behind me. "I'm right here," the woman said. I spun around, relieved to see her standing there. But as I looked at her, I realized that something was different. Her eyes were glowing, and her skin was a sickly shade of green. "What are you?" I asked, my voice shaking. The woman smiled, revealing a mouth full of sharp teeth. "I'm an alien," she said. "And I've been waiting for you to pick me up for a very long time." As soon as the words left the woman's mouth, I knew I was in trouble. I had always been a bit of a skeptic when it came to things like aliens and UFOs, but there was no denying the evidence that was right in front of me. I tried to back away, but the woman was too quick for me. She reached out and grabbed my arm, her grip like iron. "Where do you think you're going?" she hissed. I struggled to break free, but it was no use. The woman was far stronger than she looked, and I knew that I was no match for her. "Please," I begged. "Let me go." The woman chuckled, a sound that sent chills down my spine. "I'm afraid I can't do that," she said. "You see, I have a very special mission for you. And I need you to help me complete it." I had no idea what the woman wanted from me, but I knew I had to find a way to escape. I looked around frantically, searching for a way out. And then, in the distance, I saw a pair of headlights approaching. I lunged for the car door, yanking it open and diving inside. The woman tried to grab me, but I was too quick. I fumbled with the keys, my hands shaking so badly that I could barely get them into the ignition. Finally, the engine roared to life and I floored it, tearing down the road as fast as the car would go. In the rearview mirror, I saw the woman standing on the side of the road, a look of pure hatred on her face. I didn't stop driving until I saw the lights of a rest stop up ahead. I pulled in, my heart racing and my hands shaking. I sat in the car for a few minutes, trying to catch my breath and come to terms with what had just happened. And then, slowly, I began to tell myself that it had all been a hallucination. That the woman I had picked up on the side of the road had been nothing more than a figment of my imagination. But even as I tried to convince myself of this, I knew it was a lie. The woman I had encountered on that dark and stormy night had been real, and she had been an alien. And I knew that I would never be able to forget her, no matter how hard I tried. The end. Thanks for watching another episode of Frightening Fiction. If you enjoyed the chills and thrills, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a scary story. Until next time, keep it frightening.